Hey y'all, another video to try and make your life better. Hopefully this video won't stress any of you out, but everybody's been talking about the craziness in England. Every country's crazy. Every country has pedophilia. Every country has girls getting raped from all different ages. Is it okay? No, but it happens. Why does it happen? I don't know. Because these idiot guys won't just get on a freaking dating app and find a girlfriend. So then they go after kids, or say they have a wife, but she's like withholding intimacy from him. So he goes after the kids, I always had that suspicion with my mom. Like I've said, my dad attempted to rape me when I was 6. So for the longest time, I was mad more at my mom than my dad because I was like, well, maybe she wasn't intimate with him enough. Or I even thought, well, maybe she wasn't pretty enough. And that's why he wasn't turned on to her and he was, for some reason, turned on to me. Which I think I did have that discussion with her one time and she was like, no, with child molestation is more about power than sex. Okay. Maybe all the women that those adult men know, they're not interested in them because they're too, feisty or bitchy. So then they go after kids because kids are more compliant and sweet, Kids are very compliant. Like people say, they're like a blank slate. You can write on them whatever you want to. They're a sponge. They soak up everything. And obviously kids are like the nicest human beings on the face of the planet. And they don't have boundaries yet. They don't know how to establish boundaries. They'd never even heard about boundaries. They don't really know what's right or wrong. Children depend on the adults around them to tell them what's right or wrong. They don't just naturally know. So that's why children are easy targets for any adult that wants to sexually exploit them. Because kids don't know. They're innocent. They don't really get that gut feeling yet. Like, this is probably wrong. I probably shouldn't do this. Especially if it's like a parent trying to be sexual with the kid. The kid just thinks that that's love. The kid thinks that that's normal. The kid doesn't have any concept of, the Bible yet. I mean, most people don't read the Bible until they're, 13, 14. I read it when I was 14, at least the New Testament. So they don't really know about sin. They don't know what's okay and what's not okay, which is why it's important for parents to educate their kids at some point. Really starting around, really, as soon as they start talking, you can kind of educate them on, no one should be touching you in a certain area. And if they do that, you should say, that's not okay. That's not okay. We used to say that to the kids in the preschool that I worked at. If a kid tries pushing you or they try biting you, just tell that other kid, that's not okay. And parents and grandparents should educate their kids it's okay to say that. It's okay for a kid to say, that's not okay. And stand up for themselves, for some people, they never learn that. They never learn to stand up for themselves because people just steamroll over them and don't care about what they want or what they think. And then they grow up just continually getting abused because no one ever cared what they thought or felt or said. And that's very common with anyone who's abused in any way as a child. They think that what they think or feel doesn't matter. So it's very common that they end up in one abusive relationship after another, like waves crashing in an ocean. They never seem to get free because they don't know how to stand up for themselves. And they feel like their feelings don't matter because maybe they tried to express their feelings at some point to a parent or anybody, any adult that was abusing them in any way, verbally, physically, sexually, and maybe that parent just ignored them. So the message that they get is, no one cares about what I think. No one cares about what I feel. And so then they grow up their whole lives not able to express themselves, not able to set boundaries, and they get exploited easily by anybody because they don't know how to say no. They don't know how to say no. So, and it's hard for kids. Kids don't naturally usually say no. They don't naturally usually stand up for themselves. Like, the fact that I stood up for myself when I was 6 is a freaking miracle. When my dad was taking a nap with me, he was trying to be sexual with me, and I jumped out of the bed. Eventually, it went on for like 5 minutes. But it wasn't, he was just attempting, like he didn't actually have sex with me. Anyways, I jumped out of bed. I might have said no and ran to my room. And then luckily I had the courage to tell my mom, and then he moved out, and then he went to jail. And the reason why abusers keep abusing is because no kid ever stands up to them. Nobody ever stands up to them. I said that one time. I posted that. I was like, the issue isn't so much the mean people, it's the nice people who let the mean people be mean. If you know mean people, if you know abusive people, don't let them be mean to you. Don't let them abuse you. Because the more they get away with it, the more they're going to do it. Like all these child molesters who don't get put in prison. And even if they do get put in prison, it's a short sentence. My dad's sentence was 6 months. And I think he should have been in for a lot longer. So the punishment isn't very severe like it should be. So they just get like a slap on the wrist. And it's just like, whatever. And then they're just like, well, I guess nobody really cares if I abuse or molest a kid, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And that's really sad. That's really sad. Go read, I think it's Matthew 17, where Jesus talks about, see that you do not despise one of these little ones. That's how it starts. Adults despising children. They don't respect children. And what could help with that? If you don't respect children, remember that you used to be a child. And when you were a child, you wanted people to respect you. Children want respect just like every other human being wants respect. Children deserve respect, I would say, even more than adults, because they don't hurt anybody. In my opinion, children deserve like 10 times more respect than any adult does, because most children haven't sinned yet. Most people don't sin until they're like 12, when they get their first boyfriend or girlfriend and they fornicate in some way, and then that's the first time that anybody commits a sin. So usually kids ages 12 and under have not committed any sins, therefore they should be respected. But the biggest issue in the whole world is that children aren't respected, and it's like, why? Why? Maybe one reason is because, oh my gosh, the kid's not making money. Okay. That doesn't mean that you should disrespect them. Like, yeah, they're small. That doesn't mean you should disrespect them. Yeah, maybe they're not as smart as you. That doesn't mean you should disrespect them. Yeah, maybe they're not as coordinated as you in sports. That doesn't mean you should disrespect them. Maybe they don't succeed in school 24/7. That doesn't mean you should disrespect them. That's where it starts, though, is adults disrespecting children, and then they think it's okay to abuse them. But it's not. It's never okay to abuse a kid in any way, shape, or form. It's never okay, and maybe you get away with it, but God sees what you do. And there will be punishment, if not in this life, then in the next. And people need to take that seriously. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You got to take that seriously, that God cares. God cares when people exploit and abuse children and molest them and rape them. God cares. God cares about the children. And then people could say, well, why does God let it happen in the first place? I don't know. God lets a lot of stuff happen. That doesn't mean it's okay, Anyway, so think about that. God loves y'all. God bless. Bye.